Picture a tiny storefront, 8 sidewalk tables, warm espresso drifting downtown, and $6 drinks moving from sunrise through lunch. From the curb, it looks almost perfect. Low overhead, simple products, loyal customers, and cash arriving every few minutes. The dream is easy to understand. Rent less space, place chairs outside, serve coffee fast, and let foot traffic advertise. But here is the first trap. Its most valuable space disappears whenever rain, heat, or cold empties the sidewalk. That matters because a sidewalk cafe does not merely sell coffee. It sells access to a specific place at specific hours. Demand looks reassuring. Nearly 195 million American adults drink coffee each week, according to the National Coffee Association. That habit creates recurring demand, and recurring demand is exactly what every small retail business wants before signing an expensive lease. Coffee also appears operationally simple. No dining room, no full kitchen, no complicated menu, and no warehouse filled with inventory. A customer orders, a barista pulls espresso, money changes hands, and another customer can arrive before the first one leaves. The outdoor tables add atmosphere without requiring a larger interior, making the cafe look busy, social, and successful from street. Now run the simple math. 160 daily transactions multiplied by a $7 ticket produces $1,120. Cross 30 operating days, that becomes $33,600 in monthly revenue from one compact neighborhood coffee shop. On paper, that number feels powerful. The machine is small, the product is familiar, and customers may return every morning. This is where many owners confuse revenue with income, because every dollar entering the register still has several claims attached. Before sunrise, someone receives supplies, warms equipment, calibrates grinders, stocks milk, prepares pastries, and finishes yesterday's remaining cleanup before opening. After closing, someone counts cash, washes pitchers, scrubs floors, secures sidewalk furniture, records waste, and prepares tomorrow's orders by hand. None of that time creates visible sales, yet payroll, utilities, insurance, and rent continue accumulating while the front door stays locked. Then there is the customer who buys one latte, opens a laptop, and occupies a sidewalk table for 90 minutes. Cafe looks full, but that chair may generate less revenue than 3 quick takeaway customers passing through the same period. So the central question is not whether people love coffee, it is whether this system can convert demand into durable profit. From outside, the business appears compact. Underneath, it is a chain of rent, labor, permits, maintenance, timing, and risk. Sidewalk is not free inventory. It is regulated space, exposed to weather, public complaints, construction, and changing pedestrian patterns. Beautiful table can attract attention, but attention only matters when it becomes orders, repeat visits, and higher average spending. Otherwise, the cafe becomes a stage set, visually busy, financially weak, and dependent on a few profitable morning hours. That is the first economic contradiction. The shop may look alive all day while earning almost everything before 10. Lunch traffic can help, afternoon cold drinks can help, and pastries can help. But none automatically fixes weak morning throughput. The dream was simple: sell familiar drinks from a tiny footprint. The reality is a business compressed into unforgiving economics. Every square foot, every worker, every minute, and every menu item must justify its place inside that compressed system. And before the owner earns anything, the cafe must first pay for the right to exist, open, and operate legally. Storefront may be small, but the obligation beneath it is not. And that is where the real math begins. Start with the asset package: espresso machine, grinders, refrigeration, plumbing, electrical work, counters, sinks, furniture, signage, and point-of-sale systems. Buying used equipment lowers the opening bill, but it may replace financing pressure with breakdowns, slower service, and unpredictable repair calls. Cheaper grinder can create inconsistent shots. A tired refrigerator can destroy milk inventory. Downtime turns savings into lost sales. The expensive option is not automatically smarter either. Premium finishes can consume capital without increasing speed, ticket size, or customer retention. The owner must separate what customers notice from what actually produces revenue. Workflow, reliability, storage, ventilation, and fast payment processing. Then comes construction. A tiny cafe can still require upgraded plumbing, stronger electrical capacity, grease management, ventilation, and accessibility work. These costs arrive before the first sale, and delays create a second expense: rent paid while the register remains silent. This is where opening budgets fail. Owners price equipment, then underestimate installation, inspections, deposits, design changes, and contingency cash. A budget without contingency assumes nothing goes wrong. Exactly when contractors, inspectors, utilities, and old buildings begin producing surprises. The next layer is permission. Owning the machines does not automatically grant the right to serve food or occupy sidewalk space. Health approvals, business registrations, insurance, accessibility rules, signage limits, and outdoor seating requirements all shape when revenue can legally begin. Sidewalk itself may need clear pedestrian paths, protected boundaries, approved furniture, operating hours, and compliance with neighborhood restrictions. That means the owner is monetizing public-facing space under conditions that can change, expire, tighten, or become more expensive. Time also carries a cost. Every delayed approval extends the period when rent, loan payments, and insurance exist without customers. So before monthly operations even begin, the cafe has already absorbed capital, waiting time, regulatory risk, and irreversible location decisions. Now the monthly clock starts. Rent arrives first, whether the sidewalk is packed, empty, frozen, flooded, or blocked by construction. Base payroll follows because the cafe still needs opening, cleaning, prep, and closing labor before customer volume becomes predictable. Washington, the minimum wage reached $18.40 per hour before payroll taxes and workers' compensation. That means one unnecessary labor hour does not cost $18. It costs more after taxes, insurance, and scheduling friction. Multiply that mistake across multiple employees, 30 days, and slow afternoons. Suddenly, a small scheduling error becomes a serious monthly leak. Utilities add another layer. Refrigeration runs constantly. Grinders draw power. Hot water flows, and air conditioning fights an open door. Outdoor seating may reduce interior square footage, but it does not eliminate bathrooms, storage, dishwashing, refrigeration, or code-compliant back-of-house space. Insurance, bookkeeping, pest control, software, internet, music licensing, and card terminals keep charging even during the quietest weeks of the year. Then comes equipment financing. The shiny espresso machine may produce drinks, but its payment behaves like rent with stainless steel. Maintenance must also be budgeted before failure, not after. Pumps, seals, boilers, refrigerators, and grinders wear down through daily use. Treating repair as a surprise is like treating rain as a surprise. Both are predictable, even when timing is not. Now zoom in on one $7 order because the register total still tells us almost nothing about owner income. Suppose the customer buys a latte and a small pastry. $7 enters the system, but $7 does not stay. Coffee, milk, syrup, pastry cost, cup, lid, sleeve, napkin, and normal waste immediately claim part of that sale before payroll. Card processing takes another slice, and refunds, remakes, discounts, loyalty rewards, and theft quietly reduce collected revenue further each month. After product costs and transaction costs, the cafe has a contribution margin. Not profit, just money available for fixed obligations. If that contribution averages $4 per order, every transaction contributes $4 toward rent, payroll, utilities, debt, and maintenance. Only after those obligations are covered does the next order begin creating store-level operating profit for the owner that month. Assume fixed and semi-fixed monthly costs total $22,000. The cafe must first sell 5,500 orders. Across 30 operating days, that equals roughly 183 transactions every day before the owner earns one operating dollar. If the shop opens 12 hours, the average sounds manageable. About 15 transactions each hour. But demand never arrives evenly. Most sales may concentrate into a 90-minute morning rush, when payment, espresso, milk steaming, pastry pickup, and handoff compete simultaneously. At that point, the break-even question changes from daily customers to transactions per minute during the most valuable window. Lose 20 morning orders because the line moves slowly, and the cafe sacrifices $80 of contribution before lunch. Repeat that across 30 days. One small bottleneck can erase $2,400 before considering rent, debt, or repairs. Now cut the average ticket by just 50 cents. The loss looks harmless until it repeats across thousands of monthly transactions. If contribution falls from $4 to $3.50, break-even rises above 6,200 monthly orders. That pushes daily break-even from roughly 183 transactions to about 210. nearly one extra customer every hour. Add one unnecessary full-time barista, and the cafe may need dozens of additional daily orders simply to fund that schedule. But cutting labor too aggressively creates another problem: longer lines, slower drinks, worse service, and fewer customers during the morning rush. This is the labor paradox. Too many workers destroy margin, while too few workers destroy the transactions required to create margin. Payment methods matter too. Card fees look tiny per order, but almost every modern cafe transaction may pass through them. A few percentage points applied to $30,000 of sales can consume hundreds of dollars before the owner sees anything. Waste creates the same slow leak. Spoiled milk, unsold pastries, incorrect drinks, and oversized portions quietly eat product contribution. No single mistake looks fatal. Together, small leaks can turn an apparently healthy gross margin into a disappointing operating result. And remember, store-level operating profit still is not personal income. Taxes, owner debt, reinvestment, and emergency reserves come afterward. A cafe showing $4,000 of monthly operating profit may leave far less available for the owner's actual household expenses. One major refrigerator repair can consume that entire month. One broken espresso machine can damage both revenue and customer trust. This is why contribution margin matters more than social media photos. It reveals how much each order truly feeds the business. Under our model, 160 daily transactions looked impressive, yet the shop required about 183 merely to break even. The original $33,600 of monthly revenue was not success. It was still below the system's operating requirement. That is the mini climax hidden inside the register. A busy cafe can sell thousands of orders and still produce no owner profit. The owner is not simply buying equipment and ingredients. The owner is buying a monthly obligation that must constantly be fed. So if coffee margins alone cannot guarantee success, the next question becomes unavoidable. Where does the real money actually come from? The answer is not hiding inside the cup. It is hiding inside the system surrounding every cup sold. Here comes the twist. The visible cafe sells coffee, but the invisible business sells speed, convenience, location, and daily habit. The beans matter, but they are only one component. The profit engine begins with how efficiently demand becomes completed transactions. A customer walking past creates no revenue. A customer waiting too long may leave. A completed order is what pays obligations. That makes throughput the first hidden engine. The number of profitable transactions completed during the cafe's most valuable demand windows. Two shops can sell identical coffee at identical prices, yet the faster system may generate dramatically more contribution every morning. Start with black coffee. It is fast, familiar, inexpensive to produce, and easy to serve during a crowded rush. But speed alone does not guarantee profit. A low-priced drink may contribute less money despite moving through the line quickly. Espresso drinks raise the average ticket, yet steaming milk, customizing orders, and remaking mistakes can slow the entire production line. The owner therefore faces a trade-off: sell simpler drinks faster, or sell more expensive drinks with greater operational complexity. This is where menu design becomes economics. Every additional option can attract customers while also increasing labor, inventory, and confusion. Pastries offer a useful upsell because they increase ticket size without requiring the barista to spend another minute preparing them. A $3 pastry added to a coffee can improves contribution faster than convincing the customer to order a complicated specialty drink. Breakfast sandwiches may generate more revenue, but they introduce refrigeration, heating, food waste, longer service times, and stricter handling requirements. Cold drinks can extend demand beyond the morning, helping the cafe monetize warm afternoons when traditional coffee traffic begins fading. Retail beans and branded merchandise use almost no seating, turning limited floor space into revenue that leaves with the customer. The best product mix is not simply the highest-priced menu. It is the combination producing contribution without damaging speed. Now watch what happens during the morning rush, when 20 customers arrive faster than the cafe can process their orders. One employee takes payments, another pulls espresso, another steams milk, and everyone competes for the same narrow counter space. Payment takes too long, the espresso machine waits. If milk steaming slows, completed drinks accumulate beside unfinished orders. The bottleneck may be the grinder, the register, the pickup shelf, or simply one customer asking complicated questions. 30 extra seconds per order sounds harmless, until those seconds repeat across dozens of customers during the most profitable window. Across a 90-minute rush, that delay can remove several completed transactions, sacrificing contribution that can never be recovered later. The lost customer does not usually return at 3 o'clock. They buy coffee from the competitor across the street. That is why a smaller menu may outperform a larger one, even when the larger menu appears more attractive online. Variety captures attention. Speed captures demand before impatience converts that demand into someone else's revenue. Mobile ordering can help by moving payment earlier, but it can also create a crowded pickup shelf and confused customers. When digital orders and walk-in orders hit simultaneously, the cafe must decide whose drink enters the production queue first. Without clear sequencing, mobile convenience becomes operational chaos, and customers experience the exact delay technology promised to eliminate. Strongest cafes design every movement: where cups sit, where milk moves, where payment happens, and where finished drinks leave. That choreography turns seconds into transactions, and transactions into contribution before the morning crowd disappears down the block. Visible crowd can attract pedestrians, signal popularity, and make a tiny storefront feel safer, warmer, and more established. In that sense, outdoor customers become living advertising. But advertising is valuable only when it creates additional profitable orders. A customer who buys one drink and stays 2 hours may contribute atmosphere while producing very little revenue per seat hour. Another customer might grab coffee, add a pastry, leave quickly, and generate more contribution without using any seat at all. This is why occupancy can mislead owners. A full patio measures attention, not necessarily productivity, spending, or operating profit. The better measurement is revenue per seat hour, how much spending each chair supports during the period it remains occupied. Then compare revenue per square foot and revenue per labor hour, because space and employee time both carry recurring costs. If sidewalk seating increases food purchases, second drinks, and customer discovery, it can produce value far beyond direct table turnover. But if customers linger without spending, the same seating becomes a free neighborhood lounge funded by the cafe owner. Weather makes that asset even less predictable. The rent continues, but productive outdoor capacity can vanish within a single afternoon. So the sidewalk is not the profit engine by itself. It is a marketing and capacity tool with unstable availability. Strongest owner therefore builds revenue that does not depend entirely on sunshine, open chairs, or random pedestrian traffic. As coffee subscriptions can create recurring orders, known delivery schedules, and predictable volume before the morning doors even open. Corporate catering can turn one relationship into dozens of drinks, reducing the cost of acquiring each individual customer. Prepaid drink plans exchange a modest discount for cash received earlier and a stronger habit connecting customers to the cafe. Retail beans, bottled drinks, and online pickup also create revenue without requiring another chair, table, or hour of customer occupancy. Wholesale accounts may offer lower margins than individual drinks, but scheduled orders can establish a valuable floor beneath monthly cash flow. This distinction matters. High revenue can still be volatile, while smaller contracted revenue may be easier to staff and forecast. The best revenue mix combines profitable walk-ins with enough predictable demand to cover obligations before uncertain customers arrive. Now the business looks different. The espresso machine attracts attention, but the operating system determines whether attention becomes durable cash. Two owners may share identical equipment, similar rent, matching prices, and the same number of sidewalk tables. One merely owns a cafe, the other owns customer data, efficient workflows, repeat habits, contracts, and disciplined product choices. The visible business attracts customers. The invisible system creates profit by controlling speed, spending, predictability, and operating waste. But even a strong profit engine can fail when one assumption breaks, especially the assumption that customers will keep appearing. Now stress test the model, because profit created by perfect assumptions can disappear when several ordinary problems arrive together at once. A week of rain can erase outdoor capacity, reduce walk-in traffic, and leave the same rent and payroll untouched. A nearby office closing can remove hundreds of potential customers without changing anything inside the cafe itself that morning. Higher wages can raise payroll immediately, while menu prices may take months to adjust without upsetting loyal neighborhood customers. Coffee, milk, pastries, cups, and card fees can rise together, quietly shrinking contribution on every transaction completed that day. An espresso machine failure is worse because it raises repair costs while simultaneously reducing the cafe's ability to sell. Construction barriers, permit restrictions, or sidewalk complaints can remove visibility and seating without lowering the storefront's monthly obligations at all. A competitor opening one block away can attack both price and convenience. The two advantages customers notice most quickly. Begin with the good case: 190 daily transactions, a $7.50 ticket, and smooth morning operations throughout the month. Across 30 days, that produces 5,700 orders and monthly revenue of $42,750. If each order contributes $4.25, total contribution reaches $24,225 monthly. After $22,000 of fixed and semi-fixed costs, store-level operating profit is only $2,225. That profit exists because pastries lift ticket size, the line moves quickly, and no major equipment fails that month. Sunny weather keeps the patio visible, while repeat customers create enough predictable demand to justify the scheduled labor hours. Even here, the owner keeps barely 5 cents of operating profit from each revenue dollar before taxes and reinvestment. Now cut transactions by 20%, reducing volume to roughly 152 orders each day across the month. Suppose weaker demand also lowers contribution to $3.75 because discounts and waste increase at once. Monthly contribution falls to about $17,100, while most fixed obligations remain near $22,000. Cafe now loses roughly $4,900 before any extraordinary repair, legal issue, or owner salary. Add a $5,500 espresso repair, and the month's cash damage exceeds $10,000 in a single month alone. That one repair erases more than 2 months of profit from the good scenario, even before demand fully recovers. With $30,000 in reserve, several bad months can consume the owner's safety cushion far faster than expected. The most destructive variable is transaction volume because rent, debt, and core payroll cannot shrink at the same speed. This is operating leverage in plain English. Small revenue changes create oversized profit swings when fixed costs dominate operations. And this is exactly how a growing coffee company can appear busy, expand confidently, and still run out of cash. Consider Compass Coffee, a Washington-based chain founded in 2014 that expanded from one neighborhood cafe into a regional brand. At its peak, the company operated roughly 25 cafes across Washington, Maryland, and Virginia, employing more than 160 people. Growth story looked logical. More locations, more roasting capacity, more brand recognition, and more customers buying the same daily habit. But the company also built an expensive Ivy City roasting facility designed for a scale of demand that never fully arrived. That facility became a fixed-cost commitment, not a flexible asset, as downtown coffee traffic weakened after the pandemic changed office routines. Court filings later showed downtown cafe revenue had fallen by more than half compared with pre-pandemic levels, crushing earlier location assumptions. The company still owed landlords, suppliers, lenders, and investors, while underperforming leases continued demanding cash from the shrinking operating base. In January 2026, Compass filed for Chapter 11 protection with nearly $12 million owed to creditors and investors. The filing did not mean customers suddenly stopped drinking coffee. It meant the capital structure could no longer survive current demand. Compass planned to reject multiple leases, close unprofitable cafes, and exit the oversized roasting facility that once represented ambitious expansion. That is the hidden danger of scaling. Yesterday's growth asset can become tomorrow's cash drain when volume assumptions break. Roasting plant cannot shrink its rent because fewer commuters buy lattes, just as a sidewalk lease cannot follow rainfall. Compass had built for a larger future, but the future arrived with weaker downtown traffic, higher costs, and expensive legacy obligations. The company said its large manufacturing facility no longer matched Washington's retail environment, making city production economically incompatible with present demand. Bankruptcy became the mechanism for cutting leases, selling assets, and preserving the strongest cafes instead of defending every previous decision. Cafe Nero ultimately bought most Compass assets for $4,750,000 through the bankruptcy auction. The sale kept parts of the operating business alive, but investors and founders could not recover the value once imagined. The lesson is not that coffee demand disappeared. The lesson is that fixed commitments outgrew predictable, profitable customer volume. For a sidewalk cafe owner, expansion should follow proven unit economics, not optimistic foot traffic projections or the appearance of popularity. A beautiful location cannot rescue a weak lease, oversized payroll, poor throughput, or debt built for customers who never arrive. This case exposes the survival rule. Revenue is chosen by customers, but endurance is determined by fixed costs and cash reserves. A cafe can remain open, serve good drinks, and look busy while the company behind it quietly runs out of money. The asset can function perfectly while the balance sheet fails, because operational activity and financial survival are not the same. That brings us to the final verdict. What does a sidewalk coffee shop truly sell, and who is equipped to win? The answer begins by separating the romantic image of coffee culture from the economic system required to support it. A sidewalk coffee shop does not truly sell caffeine. Caffeine is available almost everywhere, often faster and much cheaper. What it sells is convenience, a reliable drink placed directly between the customer's morning routine and final destination. It also sells speed, because saving 5 minutes before work can matter more than saving $1. Sidewalk sells visibility, a public signal that this place is active, trusted, social, and worth entering. The tables sell temporary access to the neighborhood, offering customers a small place to pause without making a reservation. And the cafe sells reliability. Customers expect the same drink, same quality, and same opening time every morning. That reliability transforms coffee from a product into a habit, and habits are more predictable than occasional purchases. So the real product is not the cup. It is controlled convenience delivered repeatedly from one valuable location. The likely winner begins with reasonable rent, because even excellent coffee cannot rescue a location priced for impossible sales. They maintain cash reserves, understanding that weather, repairs, construction, and weak seasons are operating realities, not rare disasters. They study foot traffic by hour, instead of trusting daily averages that hide empty afternoons and overloaded morning rushes. They keep the menu focused, increase ticket size carefully, and refuse products that create more complexity than contribution. They build recurring revenue, document workflows, maintain equipment early, and schedule labor according to demand rather than hope. The likely loser signs an expensive lease because the street looks fashionable and assumes popularity will automatically produce profit. They confuse gross margin with owner income, underestimate working capital, and treat every crowded table as proof of success. They depend completely on walk-ins, ignore maintenance reserves, and expand before the original cafe consistently covers its obligations. At first, this business is rarely passive. It behaves more like an owner-operated job wrapped inside an expensive asset. The owner must order supplies, cover shifts, repair equipment, manage permits, and watch every rush. They own employment. Become scalable only when processes work without constant supervision and revenue extends beyond one sidewalk and one morning crowd. That requires standardized training, reliable managers, documented production, customer data, predictable contracts, and disciplined control over new locations. The larger lesson is operating leverage. Fixed costs create powerful profit when demand rises and painful losses when demand falls. Location has value, but only when customer volume, pricing power, speed, and contribution justify the obligations attached to it. Working capital buys survival, while predictable revenue buys time. Two advantages that beautiful furniture and premium beans cannot replace. Would you rather own a high-traffic cafe with expensive rent, or a cheaper location backed by predictable office contracts? That choice reveals the entire model. One option buys visible demand, while the other buys greater control over uncertainty. The sidewalk creates the dream, but rent, labor, throughput, and recurring demand determine whether that dream can survive financially. This is not a shortcut to passive income. It is a complete operating business compressed into one fragile location. The cup attracts the customer, the sidewalk creates the atmosphere, and the system decides what reaches the bottom line. Build that system well, and a small cafe can become durable. Build it poorly, and popularity only hides the losses. Subscribe for more clear-eyed business breakdowns and tell us which everyday business we should put under the microscope next.